My name is Conrad McIntosh. I'm 15 years old, and I go to the field school in Washington, D.C. What is waiting on line one? We are a rock band that was formed about a year ago, that has a drummer, a vocalist, me, two guitarists, and a bassist. My lead guitarist and I were just sitting on a bus on the way to a field trip, and we got to talking about rock music, and we just sort of shot out the idea, hey, want to form a rock band? You know, we didn't really think anything would come of it, but, it did end up becoming something. And I think we both sort of formed the band as a way to express ourselves creatively, and, we sort of both needed other people to help us with the songwriting.
My dad introduced me to my favorite band now, Led Zeppelin, and the big guys, Jimi Hendrix, the Rolling Stones, the Who. And that from there, I just this is good. And I think that in terms of the rock industry, it's slowly dying. It has been slowly dying since the 90s. And, I don't want to see a genre so good go to waste. So that's why, and I think my other band members feel the same. So they wanna keep that going.
I would say rock is kind of dying out. When I was in Louisiana, we listened to rock all the time. That's because my dad listened to it. But I came up here, and most people like to listen to rap or trap music, pop. That was never really my thing.
It is something that you're starting to see less of as time goes on and as music is starting to evolve into things more technical and electronic or rap. You're starting to see a lot less of rock, and I think one of the good things about playing rock, especially in a band, is that you're kind of keeping it alive in a sense.
I would say that our main mission is to get people back into rock because, 70s, 80s, 90s, you sort of start to see a little bit of a trail off from rock and more into, rap, R&B, and, rock is such an amazing genre that I'd actually love to try to get people back into that kind of music. So I would say our main mission is to get our peers into the kind of music that we grew up with and has influenced our lives so much. Ever since I was a little boy, my father would turn up the radio. We'd listen to 80s music, some good classic 80s rock. My friends and I, we bond over listening to older stuff, Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, all that good stuff. And, listening to rock music, through rock you can express so many emotions. And, it seems like, whatever kind of a day I was having, I could just come home, go to my room, turn on the music that fit whatever mood I was in. Making music, relieves some of my stress about life, and it's kind of amazing just how much, making music with people you like can change your entire outlook on life and the things going on around you.
I'm also one of the composers. Me and Conrad are the two main songwriters. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I come in with ideas, I come in with riffs, and I'm just like, hey, let's build around this, When I discovered what you could do with the guitar, I fell in love with it. I was just like, you know what, I can use the whole neck, and it's a way to express yourself musically, artistically. It's just how it's how I roll.
I first got into music when I went to middle school. At first I wanted to play drums, but the music class really meant guitar class. So I started off playing guitar, And as I got into high school, I was introduced to bass guitar, and I really got into bass. What makes me passionate about this is that I get to spend time with my friends. After school we can let off some steam. You might have had a hard day in school, so you come here and sometimes we just jam, and it's a really good time.
Guitar has kind of changed the way that I've thought about music, because usually I think about it from a rhythmic perspective and tuning the other parts out like melody, but now as a guitarist you have to think about melody as well as rhythm. Right now it's just a bunch of friends that like making music together and make small marginal amounts of profit off of it.
Recording sessions, mixing, it's basically for the sound that we get on when people listen to our music with headphones or however they listen to it. It's kind of my job to sort of get there. For one, we're really experimental. A great example is the other day we wanted a plain sample to go in the beginning of our songs, of one of our songs, and we didn't want to go on the internet and pull one off of Google or something, for many reasons. Copyright, we wanted to craft our own sound as well, and that's definitely part of why we do that. So we went to the airport, held up a mic in the freezing cold, and actually recorded airplanes taking off, and yeah, that was really cool. My mission with the band, a lot of people see me as the drummer, because that's, when you're playing live gigs and when you're out there doing stuff, and when people think of the music, they don't necessarily think of the producing. They think of, oh, he's a good drummer, maybe he's not a good drummer, They think of me as a drummer in general, but in reality, my mission is more on the producing side. I really want to, engineering-wise, create art is what it is. It's art. I'm influenced by a lot of stuff, because to get sounds, usually when you have ideas for sounds, it either comes out of experimenting in the studio or hearing it somewhere else. So I would say big players for me would be Evanescence, if you know them. Guns N' Roses, they're a rock band. Queen I would definitely say Queen is a huge influence of mine, just because of how experimental they actually were. At the time, in the time of rock, they kind of came out with, stuff nobody had ever heard of before, and that was something that kind of, shaped who I want to be as a recording engineer. I feel like to be an engineer, to be a producer, to be a mixer, you have to have that passion, that drive, and if you don't, it's gonna sound different. But I want to get more stuff out there. I want to put ourselves out there more. A lot of what we do, we're kind of a studio band in general. A lot of what we do is based off of things we do here in the studio, whether that's recording or whether that's just coming up with stuff. So I want to do more live performances, and kind of put my drummer, in terms of personal goals, put my drummer self more out there a little bit more. And I want to get more music out there as well. Publish our next release. Most bands, when they need to record, they spend days doing this. They go in the studio 6 a.m., they get out later at night, they're in the studio all day. It's different with us. When we want to record something, we have to come after school, and we have to be out by 6:30, which means we basically have about 4 hours to do something. So that means recording different parts and whatnot on different days, and it's all kind of a jumbled mess. So it's really hard, especially it's junior year, it's stressful. It's really hard to find the time to get in here, and then when we do, we don't have a lot of it. If I had all the time in the world, I'd spend it in the studio.
So, we all know this band's not going to last forever, but in the time that we have, with all the talented people in this band, we want to make sure of a few things. We want to get our music out there, and I guess they're kind of similar, but just show what we're capable of, and what we can do, like as a group.
I just really love creating music, and I think having a group of people to do that with, and, you know, to record stuff and to put it out for the entire world to see, you know, for other people to hear our emotions and thoughts, I think that's what really makes this all worthwhile.
Let me tell you why.